part of this book is I did read a bunch, and some of it's hard to read, but at the same time, I like to think about like, it lets me pause when I'm getting triggered by something. Like if I can just wait 5 minutes, like I don't even just look at a clock and just be like, okay, I'm being triggered, and then try to bring it down. Then you could start like trying to look into it. But like even little things, like I don't know, we were playing cards. My daughter put her hand on the cards before I was done dealing, and inside I was like, "Do not touch the cards." But I said. And I was like trying to wonder why, and I was in my head, I was like, I'm being triggered by this for some reason. That's like, don't touch the cards. Right?
Cards are important in your house.
I just told her it's rude. I'm like, because it's rude, and just don't do it. But in my side, I was like, why am I getting triggered by this stupid thing? It has nothing to do with her touching the cards. She can touch the cards. I can deal around her hands.
I have a friend who's had trauma when they were younger, and they recently put a post on some social media that said to be, when you are parenting, if you've had trauma when you're younger and your child does something that really puts you crazy off, like you're so upset with them, if you take a moment and realize, are they acting in a way that you weren't allowed to act? And if so, instead of like disciplining your child, you should learn how to like reflect at yourself, be like, okay, basically it's what you're saying, Mary, like you're triggered. And it's anyway, so she was saying people who
it's not about you. Yeah.
It's not about your child doing something at that.
It's about what happened to you.
Right. What happened to you?
They're not trying to push your buttons. You have a certain number of buttons and you spend a lot of time with them. So eventually, if they're doing stuff all day, one time it's going to push your button. It has nothing to do with them trying to drive you crazy. I mean, maybe sometimes you might be like, I know your buttons. It's interesting.
She put that down, and that was like interesting. She's like, I tried to do this with my kids. I try. Like, be like, why am I overreacting to this situation? It has to do with my childhood.
Stopping for 5 minutes is really great and really, really hard.
Really hard, because that 5 minutes does not feel like
patience.
5 minutes. It's like
too about patience.
There was this training that we did at my last job, and it was about responding. It's about trying to strengthen that muscle between reacting and responding. And he had a helpful acronym that was TAP. So if you can, and you recognize, like Mare recognizes, then you take a breath, that's the T, and then you acknowledge what you're feeling, and then you proceed. So just by doing that, which doesn't have to take 5 minutes, it could be obviously shorter, unless you're feeling a lot of things, I guess. That provides that space enough. And the other like biological hack of it is when you are triggered and your fight or flight is responding, it's doing what it does to get you ready. So if you spend time deep breathing, you're telling your body there's nothing wrong, right? Like you can't be.
It hacks the system.
Yes, exactly.
It overrides it because from a physiological response,
Right.
it wouldn't make sense if you were indeed in fight or flight to have slow, regulated, rhythmic breathing.
Right. This was dealing with resistance, right? So which could be described as some of the things that trigger us as parents or whatever, like whatever version of resistance. He had this paradigm where he started with really getting aware of what resistance is. And he just was like, resistance is protection, right? So if someone is fucking with you, right? Like they're resisting whatever it is you're trying to do. If you remember that resistance is protection, it kind of turns your whole, it like informs you differently on how, like if you think you're fucking with me, right? Then you're pissed off. But if you think, oh no, you're trying to protect yourself from whatever, I don't know what it is, right? But resistance is protection. Then you can acknowledge that, and then you can proceed, and you throw a little tap in there, and away you go.
And certainly if you're saying you're fucking with me and the person's trying to protect, they're just going to resist more.
Right.
They're like, oh, now you're angry.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy too. Right. So if you think about a child that's acting out, and they're resisting to protect, and then you do what Mary's describing, then they're like, see, that's why I was protecting myself in the first place. Clearly.
I love that. That's
Okay,
awesome.
does anyone care if I workshop this a bit?
Let's do it. Work it. Work
like
it.
a personal workshop. Okay, so for the last few weeks, the morning routine with the kid is awful. She is resistant to getting ready. Every part of it is a fight. Every single part of it. And I feel like I'm trying everything. So if she's resisting to protection, what is she protecting herself
It's her
from?
autonomy. It's
Autonomy.
because she senses and smells off of you that you love nothing more than control.
And so her power comes from the things that she can control.
I don't know. I'm just guessing because when her and Alex were doing a FaceTime call earlier today, Max couldn't wait to start making her bed. And I was like, that's weird. She hasn't even been prompted by you or B to do that.
Well, how old is she again?
She's a liar. She's
okay.
I already made her bed.
I have
because I slept in it because she kicked me out of my bed.
I have one who loves autonomy too, and we went through the same thing. Yeah. And she was she's like resisting and like frustrated. I was like, listen, you don't want me to tell you to get ready. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't want to tell you to get ready. I was like, but we need to whatever, be here at a certain time. These are the things that need to happen. And right. And so if you just do it, then we're both happy. And like, it took a bit. She finally, I mean, she will. I don't know. You got to figure, I don't know. But it's definitely like,
yeah, hit me.
Would she want to share some opinions on what order in which she can go through?
She picks out her own clothes. She can pick out whatever she wants to wear. She can get ready in whatever order she wants to. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about resistance in this protection.
Kim has something.
The things that kids are going for, if they're not protecting, is power, control, because they don't have that, right? Because they're kids. Everybody else is in charge of everything. So that's when they find out how they can get that, that's where that comes from. So that's like resisting brushing teeth, or what, all that stuff is really just versions of them having choices and some version of power. So the more, like you're saying, you give her choices or she can do it, whatever thing, the more you do that, the more empowered she should feel and the less she should resist. And so, for example, like with my son, what I would do if the situation is I'm not getting dressed, then it's like, okay, you get to pick your shirt, right? So it's not about having a fight about, yes, you are getting dressed, no, I'm not. It's like, which shirt do you want to wear? And then I would add with my son, because he wants to have that choice, I'd be like, so you can pick, and if you're not going to pick, I'm going to pick. And then I would always pick the shirt that I know he doesn't want to wear. And then he'd be like, I want that one. And he would automatically, resist the choice I made. But then in his resistance of that, he picked a shirt. So now we're one step closer. So it's like,
oh, that's sneaky little trick.
Yeah. So you just, it's always about giving them choices, but also saying, if you choose not to choose,
I pick out a pantsuit for her.
Exactly. Then mommy will choose. And for me, just for the fun of like, just to keep it entertaining for me, I'd always pick what he didn't want to wear and be like, well, and same thing with breakfast. Do you want toast or cereal? I don't want any. Okay, well then mommy's going to pick. And then like he might not eat like whatever, but like the more that you kind of just consistently go this or that, it's up to you. And then when they don't want it, you're like, okay, well I'm picking. And then
doing it's up to you. You get to choose how you spend your morning. You can spend it playing, or you can
what about like
but simpler choices. It can't be too like vague. It has to be very concrete.
I'll try it. I'll loop
back. What about sometimes I would completely unrelated give my kid autonomy or an ability to master something completely different that made them feel powerful. So for us, it's like physical stuff, riding a bike, snowboarding, swimming, whatever, something else in their life that they can master, or making breakfast or whatever, making pancakes or whatever it is. Something else to master, to get that power, feeling powerful and feeling in control of their body or whatever. It'd be different for different kids, and it's completely unrelated. And then they kind of didn't have to control the little things that annoy us parents so much when you're on a schedule and have to be somewhere.
Okay, I like you guys.
Monica pointed
No,
out
that's true.
Leah, is your little one also starting to realize that she doesn't have as much power or autonomy and choice when she goes to school? Could this also be a delay tactic?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure,
I
that makes
also
sense.
like, I'm not a parent, obviously,
No.
but
All advice is good
as
advice.
me as a
That's
person,
not true.
yeah, that's not true. But me as a person,
All advice here is good advice. Sorry.
I don't want as much choice. Like, I go to a store and I pick up the first thing that I like. Laird drives him insane. He researches for 20,000 years and picks out the one that he thinks is the best. I will go and go, what's the good one? Great, perfect, done. Let's move on. But could it just be too much choice too? Like,
It could be, because it's like we have 3 kinds of toothpaste so that she can pick which one she feels like using. So I was creating decisions. Maybe this is all too stimulating.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Like, just if you're throwing out ideas here and want to try something different.
Okay, that's not bad.
I like that.
Like, I think maybe in the world we live in, we all just have too much choice. Oftentimes,
especially
it's hard
first
to make a
thing
choice.
in the morning.
No, I hate even picking out my outfits sometimes. I'm like, I gotta figure this out. I don't know. I'll just grab the thing that's sitting on the chair because that's the easiest. So
I kind of like, to like Lindsay's point, I started getting annoyed with the like, what do you guys want to have for breakfast? And I was just like, no, we're not asking this question.
It was too many asking.
It's just we're having this for breakfast.
And you're gonna like it.
This is what we're eating. You know. Yeah, I don't know.
Book interrupted.
So here is my interruption. Transitioning my hair to gray. It's taking forever. As you can see, I'm like helping the black that I was dyeing it, leaving the bottom black, just helping the roots here. It's taking forever. Yeah, but I was inspired by last season, Women Who Run for the Wolves. Mare did a blog post about it. So I've been thinking about it for that long. I'm finally doing it.
Book interrupted.
So for me, only one of my children are difficult in the morning. Well, just, she's opinionated. One of my children, very opinionated. And this might not be helpful at all, but my husband just deals with her in the morning. I just don't.
So we need to send her husband.
He's way worse.
You.
Yeah, you can send your husband to me
Oh.
anytime, Sarah. I'll take good care of him.
I'm like, you guys.
I'd rather like you to send him over.
He deals with her. Like, even my other kids, I get them I get all their clothes and stuff and lay them out, whatever. And I wake them up in the morning, and my other kids get ready, and they're downstairs, and he just is with her the whole morning until she's in breakfast, and then she's happy. But with me, she is miserable. So I'm like, I'm done now. Nope. Done. You're gonna put clothes on or go in pajamas. I don't care. I'm done now. I was like, maybe just personalities. Like, my other kids were fine getting ready with me. It's just my youngest, and she's fine with my husband. But maybe not. It would be worse if it be. So
no.
I'd go with everyone else's suggestion.
Maybe delegate it to Bo.
Yeah, the dog will take
Put
care
Bo in
of
charge.
He'll clean her.
The other thing too that works sometimes is natural consequences, if you can.
Yeah.
So like with my son, he never ever wants to wear rain boots. So I'm like, fine, have soakers all day. Like, I don't care. Or like, to a certain degree, I'll do the same thing with this winter coat. Like, he doesn't want to wear it. And I'm like, okay, go and enjoy your freezing recess. And then eventually I hope that he'll make the right choice before the school calls Children's Aid.
I'll make him that sweet spot of timing it out.
Some high stakes poker there, but okay.
I like to do Kim's method, but I think it's only because I'm conflict avoidant, and it drives my hubby mad. He's like, "Who do you think's in charge here? It's raining. They need rain boots. It's that simple."
Kara's not in charge.
And I was like, no, I was like, honestly, do you want to start your day with a fight, or do you just want them to learn the freaking lesson totally on their own?
But
you don't like having soaking wet feet.
But you know what?
You're
I
kid.
do that.
You're so accommodating.
But you can do that. You can say,
accommodate.
okay, you don't have to wear it, but you have to bring it.
I do that too with the coat.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, it's just, you have to bring it. You don't have to wear it. Like, 'cause one of mine is doesn't want to wear, it's winter. She doesn't want to wear a coat. She's like, no, I'm like, well, you have to bring it. And then like we get, 3 minutes outside. She's like, I'm cold. I was like, well, remember we brought this. She's like, oh yeah, of course. Or whatever.
Yeah, but totally.
Convenient.
Because it never works
Imagine
when you're
that.
like, fine, don't bring it, but I don't want to hear about it when you're cold. They don't remember that deal. The whole rest of the time is like, can you put the heat on? I'm so freezing. It's like, ugh. This is why you bring your coat.
Sorry guys, I kind of monopolized that, but I just, when everyone was talking, I was thinking about like how would that work in real and practical? Lots of things like from this book and many of the books we've read, you read them, like especially in nonviolent communication, then like trying to put them in practical use, especially with someone else who might not have read nonviolent communication, is so challenging. Yeah.
Especially, the power struggle. I agree with Kara though, having a power struggle in the morning.
You just got to choose your
I
battles.
don't want the power struggle.
Totally. I was like, I don't want to ruin my freaking day.
Or she might just have to be the smelly kid. Like maybe that's,
you know what? It'll get better.
And then someone will be like, you
triggers
stink. And then she'll be like, bath time forever.
I guess try each one for a couple days and then move to the next, and whatever sticks, go with that.
Oh my God, I hope smelly kid doesn't stick. That really triggers
I think it's
me.
actually probably like what Lindsay said, knowing Max's personality. I think it's first thing in the morning, a bombardment of so many choices. It's just easier to shut that shit down.
I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm
Because you also didn't appreciate when you were growing up.
No,
a lot of choices.
Didn't appreciate anything. Really. I don't think there was something I appreciated. I appreciated mashed potatoes. That was about it.
True, actually.
Yeah.
Go with what works, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so.
So see if you can find her mashed potato.
I will find her mashed potato.
Hashtag mashed potato.
God, I want mashed potatoes.
Hashtag
right
mashed.
All right, what are we going to workshop next? I love this.
Yeah, I love workshopping.
Who else has a problem?
Rice giving. Okay.
Spin-off podcast.
Yeah.
I like the little I'm trying to look for one right now, but like all the little like diagrams and the little drawings and the little ways that you can visually see that the more complex things that he's talking about, which I think are really cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Has anybody ever bought like an audiobook and then realized like this book needs diagrams, right? Like, and you're listening to an audiobook that clearly has diagrams in the real book. Let's get your mind around ones where they're like, if you could see this graph, figure 1 says blah, blah, blah. Oh, can you explain the curve of the line?
Guys, I just went to like show you that, and now I've lost my bookmark and the page I was reading, and I stopped. Like I read it. I know, don't you hate this? That's like a book reader problem right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like frig.
It is.
Anyways.
Oh yeah.
If you lose a bookmark, the book will remember where you were just a little bit. So if you look just in the spine, look for the pages that are just unless you've squeezed it a lot, but there might be some pages just are slightly apart. My kids pull my bookmarks out all the time. You might see the page that you were most likely on and then be able to open it.
There are a couple that are sticking out, so I'm gonna just.
If you just lose one, if you kind of just like loosely kind of hold the book, the one that will come apart first is probably the one you wrote last.
Meredith,
remember the
trick.
Whisperer.
Holy cow.
She is the
Of course you know.
I'm writing a blog post right now for next week that embarrassingly explains how I can be just a little bit much.
You should call it the book whisperer, and that you should include how you find
just like,
how the book talks to you.
Losing my mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Losing my mark.
Losing my mark.
Oh my goodness.
If you've enjoyed these video highlights, listen to the full episode on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when new episodes are published. Find out more by going to www.bookinterrupted.com.
On Book Interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.